Today, we're going under the hood of one of the most powerful, most captivating forms of media on the entire planet, Cocomelon. Whether you're a parent who's heard these songs a million times, or you're just fascinated by what makes things go viral, you're about to see just how deep this rabbit hole goes.
So let's get right to it. We have all seen this, right? A toddler just completely mesmerized by these videos. It honestly feels like some kind of magic spell. But it's not magic. It's a formula. A very, very clever one. And today, we're going to deconstruct it, piece by piece.
Here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll look at the big picture, what I'm calling the billion-view formula. Then, we'll dive into the actual lessons hidden inside the songs. After that, we'll uncover their most powerful secret weapon, repetition. And finally, we'll put it all together to see why this whole thing is a perfect machine for the toddler brain.
All right, part one, the billion-view formula. It is so easy to look at Cocomelon and just see a playlist of silly songs. But trust me, what's happening here is anything but random. I want you to think of Cocomelon less like a TV show and more like a piece of precision engineering. Every single element, every color, every sound, every word is meticulously designed for one reason and one reason only: to capture and hold the attention of a very specific audience. It's a fascinating case study in media design. And it all starts with something simple, something you've probably heard more times than you can count. This little back and forth isn't just a song, you know? It's the foundational DNA. It's the template for the entire Cocomelon universe. So how do they build on that simple foundation? Well, that brings us to our second section, a universe of lessons. Because beneath the surface, the content is actually structured around 4 key thematic pillars that are perfectly tailored to a toddler's world. If you actually break down the Cocomelon curriculum, you find this surprisingly balanced diet of content. The biggest piece of the pie is daily routines, which makes kids feel safe and comfortable. Then you've got your core academics, followed by social skills, and even classic fables that teach simple life lessons. It's pretty comprehensive.
So that biggest slice, daily routines, is all about making the everyday world less scary. Songs about putting on your shoes or wearing sunscreen. They transform these normal, sometimes boring tasks into something fun and predictable. For a little kid, that predictability is pure comfort. Next up is academics, and we're talking about the absolute basics. A simple little chant like 1 potato, 2 potatoes isn't just a silly rhyme. It's a counting lesson disguised as a game. It's catchy, it's simple, and it's endlessly repeatable. Same goes for their ABC songs. Cocomelon also acts like a kid's very first guide to making friends. A line like, "Hello, new friend, what's your name?" isn't just a lyric. It's literally a script. It's teaching them, step by step, how to introduce themselves. It takes the anxiety out of social situations by turning it into a simple musical formula. And finally, they pull from the classics. They take these timeless fables that we all grew up with, like The Tortoise and the Hare, and they repackage them. They distill these big moral lessons like hard work pays off into a story that a 2- or 3-year-old can actually understand. Okay, so we've got these 4 pillars of content, but what is it that holds the entire universe together? Well, that brings us to section 3, and this is maybe the most important part, the power of repetition. This is the sonic glue of Cocomelon. Now, it's so important to get this right. When we hear repetition, we might think it's lazy or uncreative, but here it is a deliberate and incredibly powerful teaching tool. For a young developing brain, repetition creates predictability. And that predictability is what leads to comfort, understanding, and ultimately learning. And here is a perfect, almost shocking example of it in action. Look at the Johnny Johnny song next to the Teddy Teddy song. They are exactly the same. The melody is the same, the structure is the same. They've just reskinned it with a different character. This lets a child learn the pattern once and then feel smart for recognizing it again and again. But it gets even more granular than that. Let's really zoom in. I want you to think about this number, 3. What could that possibly represent? Well, it's the number of times a key phrase gets repeated in a single line of a song. You knew it was coming. Round and round, round and round, round and round. It's not just repetitive, it's practically a mantra. It drills the idea into your head until it's impossible to forget. And they do it with everything. The wipers go swish, swish, swish. The horn goes beep, beep, beep. It's an unbreakable pattern. So what you're seeing is repetition working on every single level at once. The tunes are reused, the lyrics are repeated, the song formats are copied, and the core themes keep coming back. It creates this totally immersive, reinforcing loop that's, well, hypnotic.
Which brings us to our final section, the toddler engagement machine. We've seen how Cocomelon is built, all the different parts, but now let's talk about why it is just so ridiculously effective.
Here's the whole secret, right here. Cocomelon works because it is engineered for the precise cognitive state of a toddler. See, at that age, a child's brain isn't looking for plot twists and complex characters. It's building its map of the world. And it does that by recognizing patterns, through familiarity, and through constant reinforcement. Cocomelon delivers exactly that.
So you can really boil down this entire billion-dollar strategy into these 4 simple steps. 1, you pick a core theme from a toddler's life. 2, you slap a super simple, recycled melody on it. 3, you structure it with a predictable pattern. And 4, you just repeat, repeat, repeat. That's the machine.
And that's the big takeaway. The most crucial point is that none of this is happening by chance. The bright colors, the simple faces, the thematic pillars, the relentless, overwhelming repetition, it is all part of a sophisticated and highly deliberate strategy. It really is a masterclass in knowing your audience and building something perfectly for them.
And that kind of leaves us with one last big question. As our technology gets smarter, as our analytics get more powerful, is this Cocomelon formula, this hyper-focused, data-driven, repetition-based model, is this the blueprint for the future of all media, for all of us? It's definitely something to think about. Thanks for diving in with me.